Well, hello there, friends. It is Casper, your friendly neighborhood breathworker, and today I want to talk to you about yet another commonly made mistake in breathwork. Both people teaching it and people practicing it. And this is to follow methods and techniques. And it might sound strange because you're like, but wait, you teach breathing techniques and methods all the time. Yes, this is true. But I teach them with the understanding that there is a core set of principles that underlay these methods and techniques. And those are the real things that I teach. What I see often is that people, they find a method, they find a technique, and they go, this is the one. This breathing technique is amazing. This breathing technique works for this goal, and I'm going to keep practicing this breathing technique. This is mine. And they go like, that one is better than the other one. Or I see people who ask me this question like, hey, there's this breathing technique and there's that breathing technique, and they seem to be opposed. Or these two different breathing techniques reach the same goal. How does that work? Right? And this is because people, they really believe in methods. They believe in techniques. This is how the industry is built. The industry works in a way where you figure out a breathing technique, you package it, and you start to sell it to the masses, and you go like, hey, this is the new special breathing technique. And everybody goes, wow, yeah, this is the one now. This is the one I should be doing. Now, in your practice, if you follow methods and techniques, sometimes what you notice is that the same technique or the same method doesn't actually give you the same result over time, or it works for a while and then it stops working, or it is absolutely amazing in the beginning and it becomes very unpleasant after a while. These kinds of things are very interesting because if the breathing technique worked and it worked in the first place, then why doesn't it keep working? Why doesn't it keep giving you similar or the same results over time? Also, why, as a breathing coach, can you give one technique to 5 different people and they have 5 different experiences? All right. All of these questions seem very simple and very obvious to ask, but they're actually a little bit ridiculous if you really understand the source principles. So think about it this way. You have a source of core principles. In this source of core principles lay, for example, human physiology, human biology, biomechanics, biochemistry, energetics, the chakra system, like all of these core foundational principles. And if you study these principles, then you will see that human biology, especially when it relates to breath, just works in a certain way. There's a certain neurology to it, there's a certain mechanics, certain physiology to it, and this is just how breath works. And then the way that you can change these different variables, like for example, the mechanics, whether you use horizontal or vertical breathing, whether you use your chest, which muscles you use, but also how fast you breathe, how much gas you are exchanging, what your cells need in the moment. These are all variables. The style of your inhale, the length of your exhale, the rhythm, whether it's paced, whether it's connected. There's so many different variables that you can use to change your style of breathing. So then if you take a few of those variables and you turn them into a technique, what you're basically doing is you're taking a stream from the source and you're going, okay, let's take this source and build a little stream and say, okay, so now we have this technique, for example, box breathing, 4 count in, 4 count hold, 4 count out, 4 count hold. And you go, well, I have taken those variables out of the source, and now I have box breathing. And box breathing allows you to, for example, focus your mind while your body stays relatively active. That's what box breathing is best known for. And you've taken these variables, but if you give this breathing technique to many different people, and you go like, this technique gives you focus. And then somebody does that same technique of 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold, but they do it very slowly, they might feel really sleepy, and you go like, oh, I'm totally unfocused. And somebody else might go, like in this really intense way, and they go like, oh, this is actually making me even more stressed. I'm like, interesting. So it wasn't about the technique. It is about how you practice the technique and why you practice the technique. So if you follow techniques and you think and you just read a simple description or somebody teaches you a simple technique and they go like, oh, here's this method, here's XYZ protocol, this is supposed to give you this, and you practice it and you don't get it, then you're like, this thing must be bad. There must be something wrong with it. I will just go and find another one. And that's the big downside of following techniques and chasing methods and protocols, is that you start to believe this is the thing for me, and then at some point it doesn't work anymore. Oh, it's not the thing for me. Now let me try this one. Oh, it works for a while, doesn't work anymore. It's stupid, right? And you see this in the dieting industry a lot. People want to lose weight. They try a diet for a while. It gives them certain results for maybe a short amount of time, and then suddenly it stops working. Go like, oh, this diet is horrible. So they go all the way vegan, and for a while they feel great, and then they don't. They go, oh no, opposite, gonna go carnivore. For a while they feel great, and then suddenly not. They go, oh, that's bad. So what you're basically doing is you're following method after method after method after method. Well, actually what you can do is you can take one simple method and see it as a stream that leads down to that source of these core principles, which is your body. You are the set of core principles. You are the laboratory. You are nature happening right now. So if you take a technique and you use this technique to understand your body better, and you use science and existing publications and books and classes to understand the kind of theoretical knowledge about this, then you can take any technique, dissect it, follow it down to the core, and gain a deeper understanding of breath, and also understand why sometimes it gives perfect results, and sometimes it gives undesired results, and sometimes it changes based on all these different variables that you're playing with. So, if you follow methods, you can do all kinds of breathing practice every day for an hour and for years, and not really learn how things work, right? I once taught a lecture where a guy afterwards came up to me and he said, hey, on stage there you said that if you inhale, your belly comes out, but that's wrong. And I was like, oh yeah? Why? And he goes, well, I grew up in India and I went to this specific school of yoga, and there we learned that you inhale and then your belly comes in. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, so that's the way to do it. And I was like, oh man, this guy went to school in India. He studied breathing for years in school. Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm wrong. And then I just was like, okay, so maybe that's just a technique that he learned, right? So I asked like, hey, have you ever seen a dog breathe while it sleeps, or a child? Or do you watch your spouse when they sleep, right? What happens there? Oh yeah, on the inhale, there's an expansion. Why does this expansion happen? Oh yeah, we need to increase the volume in the lungs, and in order to do so, the diaphragm pulls down, and then there's of course space that needs to be created down in your abdominal cavity, so your belly needs to expand. I'm like, oh, that makes total sense. Those are the principles. And this guy was like, oh yeah, true. Now, I don't know which style of yoga he practiced. I don't know if he paid attention or whether, I don't know the specifics of this. But this is one of those moments where I realized, oh, this person has taken a method or a technique, this external thing, and can no longer relate it to nature, to just watching it happen, watching the fundamental principles of breath happen in real life, and then learn from that. So, methods are great, techniques are great, collect them all, but study them. Study them down into the core, learn breathing physiology, learn anatomy, learn mechanics, learn biochemistry, learn energetics, and then take those almost X-ray goggles of understanding the principles to all of these methods, and you'll see that they have a lot in common, and you'll know exactly when and how to practice. So, let me know your thoughts, or if you have any questions in the comments. Give this video a like, give me a follow, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.